Hello guys, si Keshan Veloso ulit ito at welcome sa second episode ng laro tayo ng Shadowrun Dragonfall Director's Cut Main Campaign. Okay, tuloy natin yung campaign natin. Yung last episode natin guys, andito pa rin tayo sa loob ng nung Harfield Manor Run. Yung na corner tayo, so kailangan natin maka-survive ng 4 yata o 5 o 4 or 5 turns pa bago tayo makatakas. So yun, okay. Problema kasi itong kalaban, problema kasi itong orc na to, laki ng armor niya halos wala tayong laban dyan pagkakataon. Teka, ito yung character natin. Dispatchan mo natin ito isa. Hindi ma-target, ganun. Hindi ba ma-target yung batay na lang, diba? Ikaw muna, D-trick. Targets. Hit chance by 12 does not stop. So, okay. Hindi makita sa lagay na yun. O, dito ko rin na muna rin din. Kailangan kasi natin matispatcha to Okay, kanuan. Dual shot. Tanggal na. Okay. Reload ka na lang muna. Hindi ko maintindihan tong na to, pero sige. Lagyan natin ng 180 muna, confirm. Tapos subukan natin kung kakayanin niya. Actually, ay, 1 damage lang. Kaya tama pag initan niya yan. Tatlong turn pa, tapos may dumating pang dito. Sige, dispatchan muna natin ito isang to. 67. Experiment. Go. Okay, problema na natin nandito. Itong dalawang to na lang problema. Wala kasi tayong Overwatch Kaya dito, lipat. Okay, D-trick. Pwede mo pa siya tirahin ng AoE doon? Kulang pa. 4 turns bago magamit. HR friendly at the retire range. Ano yan? Reducing damage. Tama ba? Damage reduced by 3. Sige, sa main character. Ay, hindi. Lahat pala pwede Kailangan pag initan yan. 2 turns pa. 2 turns pa. Konting tiis na lang. Konting tiis na lang. At least tinatamaan. Dito ka rin. Para tabi-tabi tayo. $26, $29. Ito muna. Dito naman sayang. Dalawang turns pa. Hindi pa pwede gamitin yung AoE. Hindi pa. Ako na lang muna. Pakihil lang ako konti. Ikaw. Eh, tama yan. Pag initan yan, wala. Tama pag... delikado. Teka. Isang turn na lang naman eh. Isang round na lang. Haba ng 8 points. Patisin naman kahit konti. KD trick. Hindi pa pwede, sayang. Ay, pwede. Hindi yata eh. Wala na siya makitang target. Sayang. Okay, tama. Pag initan yan. May bumukas na rin. Pwede tayo tumakas. Takas na. Ban lang. Okay, ito muna. Bigla may tumating ito sa white. Okay. Kailangan makatakas na tayo dito. Deadman na yan. AD trick, habol. Hintay lang yan. Patakas na kami. Tanggal na yung spirit. Okay lang. Takas na eh. Buti na lang, survive tayo dun. Ike rises from her corpse-strewn perch at your approach. From the look on her face, it's obvious that she's already sized up the situation. I knew this I knew this was going to happen. I fucking knew it. At teka lang guys, set up tayo ng timer, baka sobrang haba na naman eh. Teka lang. Set up lang tayo ng timer. Dali lang. Kalimutan ko eh. Tingnan natin. Kalimutan ko mag-set ng timer eh. Pasensya guys. Okay. I knew this was going to happen. I fucking knew it. Ayan ha. Itong game na to, may ano na rin, nag-ano na rin, gumagamit na rin ng masyadong mabigat na curse words. The run was a trap. We can talk about this later. For now, we need to bug out. Monica didn't make it. We barely got out ourselves. Mukhang trap nga. Ito na nasagot natin dyan. The run was a trap. Oh, it was it? Iger grits her teeth and shakes her head. We can talk about this later. For now, we've got to get the hell out of here. It's only a matter of time before more of them come pouring out of that exit. Iger slaps the side of the van. Pile in, people, and Raquel Siddhartha. When we get back to the Chris Bazaar, we're gonna have a little talk. Okay, so yun ang unang mission natin. The Cruise Bazaar. Cruiseburg, home to nearly 500,000 people and until very recently, Monica Schaefer, once a melting pot of cultural diversity. It's now a chaotic mess of wealth and poverty, crime and commerce, anarchy and control. It's also home to your own little slice of Berlin, a neighborhood that locals call the Cruise Bazaar. A safe port in the eye of a storm. The ride back to the Cruise Bazaar is quiet. No one is in a talking mood. As the van veers past potholes and garbage piles, the glare of street lights and neon signs plays across your window, painting the world in a kaleidoscope of garish colors. Soon the van rounds a corner and skids to a halt in a narrow, crumbling alley. This is as far as Berlin's chaotic streets will take you. Your team wordlessly disembarks the vehicle and climbs down into a disused section of the U-Bahn. Bali autobahn yata yan. Tunnel system. A well-kept secret, providing your team safe passage into the Cruise Bazaar. Your safe house waits on the other side. So, nandito tayo nga sa home base. Let's get inside. Meron pa tayong Can happen fast enough, love. The sooner we get in, the sooner I can get drunk. Si di-drink pa sa way. Okay, wala item. Wala tayo 1 to 50. Wala tayong wala interactable. Anyway. Dito ba wala? Wala. So dito tayo dadaan. Ayun yung pito yata. Yan lang ba interactable? Yan lang. Ayun lang talaga. Climb up. Okay, so kumbaga pa sa Shadowrun Returns, parang yung Seamstress Union. So meron dito tao. Paul Ansel. You step inside, and the squalor of the disused U-Bahn tunnels give way to the warmth of your safe house. A man waits inside, silhouetted against the dim fluorescent lighting. Something bad has happened, hasn't it? He steps forward, revealing a pale and expressionless face. Light glinting off of steel-rimmed glasses. Paul Ansel, your team's fixer and landlord, part deal-maker, part informant, part information broker, one of the most well-connected men in Berlin. His eyes sweep across the team as he takes it all in. The grim faces, the hard stares, Iger's fury, Monica's absence. I had a feeling. How did she? His face has gone ashen. He swallows, takes a moment to chew on the words before spitting them out. How did it happen? Begging. Something in the vault security system cooked her brain. It was too quick to see. It was quick to be. It was too quick to be black icy. Something in the vault security system got her while she was jacked in. It was over in an instant. The run was a setup. 1 minute she was cracking the safe, the next she was on the ground screaming. So to, sabi natin, teching skill natin. Glory nods, her motion robotic and spare. Monica died of a biofeedback-induced stroke. That's right. Iger thrust a gloved finger into your chest, and this idiot stood by and let it happen. Brush her finger aside. That's bullshit, Iger. You weren't even in the room. Shove her hand away. Poke me again, I dare you. Ignore it. Let it happen. Let it happen? She jacked in. She screamed, and she seized. By the time we saw she was in trouble, it was already too late. Okay, ito lang. Yeah, because you never bothered learning what to look for. Muscle contractions and micro tremors are good indicators of a decker in distress. I'm assuming you didn't have anyone keeping an eye out for those. No, if you had, my friend wouldn't be lying dead in a basement. Pasaway dito si Iger. Oh, shove off, Iger. We were all on the lookout for physical security, Raquel Siddhartha included. Throwing her under the bus isn't going to help anything. Under a bus is exactly where she belongs. Iger turns to face Dietrich. She towers over him. He stands his ground. I respect you, Dietrich. You know that. But you don't have my training. None of you have. Monica was good. She was the best, right? But she was also overconfident. She treated the job like it was a game. Do that long enough, and you're gonna get burned. Iger turns her focus back to you. If you'd been paying attention, you'd have figured all of this out on your own by now. You'd have known that Monica needed watching as much as that door. Enough, Iger. Ansa's voice is hoarse. Hey, tama. Ansa's voice is hoarse. His expression blank. Enough. Iger pushes ahead, heedless of the interruption. Her voice remains measured, but there's a fire in her eyes. How many seconds passed between Monica's first convulsion and her plug getting pulled? 4, 5? Do you know how much damage biofeedback can do to a decker's brain in 5 seconds? Ano nga wala kang 5 seconds eh. I don't. How dare you? Look, this one. Okay, magandang sagot dito. Ito na lang. You don't have to answer that. Of course you know. Monica died while you stood there and watched. This is all your... That is enough. Ansel's voice comes out in a roar, and his fist smashes down on the desk behind him. Iger, you and Raquel Sudarsa can have it out later, but I've had enough. We need to talk. Action. Our client sent you into something much bigger than he'd led us to believe. I want to know why. Right there with you. This was supposed to be a milk run. Payback isn't the only reason why we need to find him. We saw something back there, something that we weren't supposed to. It's fair to assume that we're all still in danger. He pauses, rubs his temples. Agreed. And to neutralize that danger, we need to know who we are dealing with. Let us review the events that transpired tonight. The smallest detail could be important, so hold back nothing. So hold nothing back. The estate was just a front for whatever was going on in the basement. After everything went to hell, we were confronted by an orc in military-grade armor. Monica lived long enough to say a name. Purishwinch. She fought hard to tell us. It must be important. So, ito naman na. Mas mahalaga to eh. Ansel seems taken aback. He pauses for a moment before responding. The fire wing. This is unexpected. You'll have to forgive me. This brings back many unpleasant memories. Glory raises an eyebrow. The fire wing? The most terrible of the great dragons. There are those who would disagree, but they never experienced the terror of living in her shadow. He glances at Glory. You are far too young to remember her. Of course, but for Germans of my generation, the name Führerschwinch is synonymous with chaos, destruction, and death. The dragons of today are subtle creatures, full of patience and guile. Führerschwinch was not. After her awakening, she went on a 4-month rampage that claimed tens of thousands of lives. Eh di para siyang si Drake sa sa Super NES game. O mas malala pa. Si Drake, siya businessman siya eh. Ansel takes a deep breath, slowly releases it. There is a haunted look in his eyes. Those were dark days. Countless men, women, and children were slaughtered, roasted alive in their homes by a creature of legend. No hope for salvation, and no end in sight. It was a horror that you cannot begin to understand. What stopped her? I can't imagine that a rampaging dragon would just go away on its own. Eventually, the fire wing was brought down by a man named Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Nga pala, German kasi yung V nila nagiging W minsan. Adrian Vauclair. Well, with the help of the Luftwaffe, di talaga marunong eh. Luftwaffe, of course, but it was experimental weapons designed by Dr. Vauclair that finally pierced her hide. She fell in a hail of bullets and rocket fire and crashed down in the radioactive wastelands of the SOX. This event was called the Dragonfall. Title ng game pa man din. Safe at last from the dragon's wrath, Germany celebrated Vauclair as a hero. Our own Siegfried, a modern-day dragon slayer. My own family practically worshipped the man. If the Dragonfall was an important and if the Dragonfall was as important an event as you make it out to be, I'm surprised that I've never heard of it. Those early years of the awakening were traumatic, Iger. Not just on a not just on a national level, but on a global scale. New species of awakened animals were being discovered daily. Within 2 years of the Dragonfall, the active use of magic had returned to the world, a new source of terror for a bewildered public. And in 2021, and in 2021, the sudden emergence of orcs and trolls gave rise to yet another wave of global panic. In light of such turmoil, is it any surprise that Dr. Fauclair and the Firewing were forgotten? Dragons were yesterday's news. He rubs his temples. Again, all of this happened decades ago. To the best of my knowledge, the story of Feuerwinch is a bit of historical trivia and nothing more. Alright, so Monica spent her dying breath trying to tell us about a long dead dragon. Iger sweeps her eyes across the group, searching for a glimmer of insight. Finally, she gives up. Any ideas as to why? Ansel's voice trembles with frustration. No, it doesn't make any more sense to me than it does to you. The Dragonfall is ancient history. Viewers Winch has been dead and gone for 42 years. But there's one thing that I do know. Whatever Monica saw, whatever she was trying to tell us, it is important. He visibly struggles to calm himself, takes a deep breath, then slowly releases it. I will look into this, and I will find answers. In the meantime, did you turn up anything else of value? The estate was just a front for whatever was going on in the basement. After everything went to hell, at umulit lang sa tumuna. Sasabihin lang natin pala lahat ng mga na-discover natin. Ansel nods. That much is clear. It wasn't a minor surprise either. That facility took serious funds to build. And time, there was more to it than we saw. Places like that don't spring up overnight. And all in secret. The owners, whoever they may be, were none too pleased by your escape, I'm sure. What else did you find? Ito yung orc. He appeared to be the head of security. That is not much to go on. Do any details about this orc come to mind? Any distinguishing features that I could look into? He was an older guy. For one, from the sound of his voice, I'm guessing mid to late 40s. Pretty old for an orc. He'd had skin grafts. Most of his face looked like replacement material. If the grafts came from a legitimate hospital, there may be medical records. This is something. I will see what I can find out. Did you note anything else during the run that may be of value? That's all we've got. That's not much. Ansel nods. His face is drawn and haggard. It is thin, I agree. A basement, a middle-aged orc with skin grafts, and a long-forgotten world event. Wait, we're still missing something. Who paid for this run? You have said a thing about our you haven't said a thing about our client yet. Paul, you holding out on us? Whoever set us knew what we were walking into. We were set up. Sa ganda to. That's obvious, but why? Paul's face reddens. I warned her. I told her not to take this run, but she assured me it would be a cakewalk. You didn't bring it to her? No, she set up the whole thing herself. Monica was approached recently by a man who calls himself Green Winters. He used to be a prominent activist in the F-state political scene. Flux. Mamaya kung anong F yan pero iniisip ko yung Flux. I never much liked the man, and I certainly never trusted him. But Monica, she would do anything for her cause, anything for the Flux state. He sighs. Winters swore that the data he was after was crucial to ensuring the future stability of the Flux. And that was all it took. We need to track down Monica's client and press him for information. Sounds like Green Winters is our best lead then. Ito na lang. Yes, most definitely. It is clear that Green Winters has involved us in something much larger than he led Monica to believe. Pasensya talaga guys, medyo nabubulol ako magbasa minsan eh. When he finds out what happened on the run, he's probably gonna rabbit. We need to chase him down before that happens. So we need information on Green Winters, and we need it fast. Any leads? How do you find this guy? Okay. How do you find this guy? There is a man here in the cruise bazaar, a Turk named Altug Bergagazi. Altug Buragazi. Mahirap magbasa niya. Bad language kasi. He owns a little soy cafe shop just down the way called Cafe Zezbe. This man is also a purveyor of information. I have done business with him from time to time. And you think he would know something about Green Winters? Ansel nods. When I discovered Monica's renewed association with Green Winters, I contacted Altug. One of his people has been keeping tabs on Winters ever since. As I said, I did not trust the man. For good reason, it would seem. I'll talk to Altug and see what he knows about Green Winters. Pragmatic. Sounds like it's about time I pay Altug a visit. Best to be cautious. In our line of work, should I go meet with Altug then? Ito naman na. Yes, tell him I sent you. I will do whatever I can to dig into the information. I will do what I can to dig into the information that you've uncovered already, sparse though it may be. Okay. Ilang karma nakuha natin? 5? Read with Alta. Five karma. Quickness 3. least meron tayong meron skill sa meron tayong rifle skill. So, hanapin natin yung target. Kasi Dietrich, tapos Dante. Anong pangalan ng aso, ha? Si Iger. Kausapin mo natin si Dietrich. Dietrich turns his head at your approach. His aging face is traced with a network of faint scars, the legacy of too many fights over too many years. While he still retains a degree of strength and vigor, it's obvious that the shaman you see today is a shadow of his former self. Despite all of this, there is still an aura of power surrounding the man. He raises his bottle, offering it to you. Look at Siddhartha, welcome. I've got a bottle of schnapps that needs sharing, and you've got a fallen comrade to drink to. Take the bottle. Take to Monica. Pros. Take the bottle. You go ahead and toast Monica. I'm drinking to revenge. Refused. I don't drink, but I'll join you in saluting her memory. Refused. You drink to Monica. I have a job to focus on. Sige. To Monica. The liquor in the bottle is crystal clear, and as you raise it, you catch an intoxicating whiff of cloves and caramel. It tastes of sweet corn and walnuts, with a lingering aftertaste of buttery toffee. You swallow a swig, then return the bottle to Dietrich's outstretched hand. He takes a long pull on the bottle, then locks eyes with you. Let me ask you a question, Raquel Siddhartha. What made you choose to come to Berlin? Why do you want to know? I had my reasons. I'd rather not talk about it. Nothing in particular. I don't have time. Ano ba? Nothing in particular na lang. Dietrich rolls his eyes at you. Oh, come on, boss. You're gonna have to do better than that. Monica told me that you made a name for yourself in the Megaplex. Had your own team and everything. Leads a man to wonder why you packed up and moved here. It was time for a change, that's all. A member of my old group betrayed me. I just had to drop out of sight for a while. A run went bad and my team paid the price. Hindi ko alam kung alam dito, ha. Parang nauulit lang eh. So, ito na lang. Ito, number 1. It was time for a change, that's all. Oh, come on, boss. Nobody moves to Berlin without a good reason. What's happening here in Berlin is special. I felt the need to be a part of it. Somebody does. You're looking at her. If you must know, I came back for Monica. What's happening here in Berlin is special. I felt the need to be a part of it. Dietrich breaks into a wide grin. Can't fault you there, chummer. I'd have to turn in my punk credentials if I did. Berlin is special. What we've got going here in the flux state. This is anarchy done right. Okay, so you heard the siren song of our fair city. Felt it in your bones, yeah? And you just had to take part in it all. So you packed your bags and made your way here, never to return. That sounds about right so far. More or less. There wasn't much left for me in the in the Rurplex, and Monica made me a hell of an offer. There was a bit more to it than that. But yeah, no offense, Dietrich, but I've got to run. We can talk later if you want. Wag lang masyado to. Ito lang, more or less na lang. Yes, Monica. Dietrich raises his bottle again, then closes his eyes and takes a long drink. After the moment has passed, he returns his attention to you. It all comes back to our girl, doesn't it? So let me ask you, just what was your relationship with Monica anyway? I know that you two knew each other way before, but she was pretty coy about these things. Why do you want to know? We're treading into dangerous personal territory here. Are you always this inquisitive? Ito na lang, sige. Yeah, I suppose. My life's an open book, so I guess I just sort of figure that everyone else's will be too. So how about it? Wanna fill me in? Kulit din ito isang to, ha. We were business associates, nothing more. We were friends. We were very close. Parang hindi ko gusto ng sagot na yun, ha. Ito na lang. We were business associates. Well, that's your loss, Chammer. She was one of the best women I've ever known. Anyway, I've taken enough of your time, and the bottle's almost empty. Thanks for taking the time to talk. For what it's worth, I'm happy you're here with us. Dietrich takes a final pull on the bottle, then tips it forward, pouring the rest on the ground. Rest in peace, Monica. We'll miss you, girl. Okay, ah. Ito namang aso ba to? Tiger? Aso ba to o tiger? As you start towards the safe house door, a large four-legged form steps around the corner. Dante, Monica's dog, an enormous mongrel of indeterminate breed. A low whimpering emerges as he enters the room, head hanging low. Aso ni alaga ni Monica pa man din. Oh shit, Dante. Dietrich shakes his head. Don't worry, boy. We'll look after you. At the sight of Monica's dog, Ansel's eyes well up. He inhales but can't quite catch his breath. He started whimpering about an hour ago, turned into a full-blown howl. Wouldn't stop, kept. He closes his eyes. That's when I realized something bad had happened. Kawawa naman itong aso to. Looking down into those huge brown eyes, you see intelligence and sadness. He lets out a small whine and rubs his head against you. And when scratch Dante behind the ears, grab Monica's bag of soy jerky treats off the table and give him one. Brush the dog aside. Ignore him. Ano ba yan? Scratch na lang. Scratch Dante behind the ears. Dante leans into you and looks up mournfully, pressing his ribs against your leg. Wawa naman. I guess the dog is coming with you, Raquel. Ansel takes a ragged breath and releases it. Then a slow, melancholy smile plays across his face. Well, perhaps a part of Monica lives on in Dante. Return to the safe house when you're finished with Ultrag. Mine from them. With a little luck, he can help us locate Green Winters, and we can get to the bottom of this. He stares at the floor, and now I think we should all take a moment. His lips tighten for Monica. Okay, siya na naman kakausapin ko. Tama si... Ay, andito rin pala si Glory. So sige, teka. Wala ba tayo pwedeng interact dito? Okay, wala. Itong room na to. Then, si Glory muna. Mamaya na si Iger. Galit pa sa atin yan eh. Si Glory muna. Teka, check ko lang guys kung gaano nakahaba. Bagal talaga ako magbasa kasi. Okay. 13 minutes pa. Siguro naman makakalayo pa tayo dito sa lugar na to after that. Glory is beautiful. In a wayfish sort of way. Her features are almost elvish in their delicacy. But there's something cold about her that you find slightly unsettling. What's more unsettling is her chrome. Glory is rocking a heavy loadout of cyberware from head to toe. She looks to be composed more of plastic and metal than she is of skin and bone. Para siya si ano, para siya si ano, si ito yung sa ano, sa Shadowrun Super NES tsaka Returns, si ano Mercurial, si Maria Mercurial, no, fully cybered up. In the shadows, individuals such this are anything but uncommon, but Glory's cyberware is first generation, all of it. Bulky, invasive, practically museum pieces. This chrome was obsolete well before she was born. Raquel Siddhartha, Glory shifts her gaze to you, but her expression is as cool and placid as always. Can I help you? Hey Glory, how are you holding up? Any thoughts on what we should do next? I have a question for you, Glory. Of the personal kind. I'll talk to you later. Ito na lang. Don't worry about me. I'm solid. You sure? You look like you're a million miles away. You'd better be. If you flaked out on the job, you and me are gonna have problems. If you say you're good, you're good. I trust you. Glory's expression remains neutral, but she grants you a barely perceptible nod. Any thoughts on what we should do next? Ay, wag na lang. I'll talk to you later na lang. She shrugs. Suit yourself. Okay. Last one, ito si Iger. Tinusundan tayo ni Dante, okay ah. Meron pala rito eh. Equip stash. Yung stash. Meron pa tayo item sa stash? Wala naman. Cybertech lang eh. Okay. Last one si Iger. Iger glares at you, and you can taste the bile in her stare. She clearly still blames you for Monica's death. Something I can do for you, fearless leader? We need to talk about Monica. Yeah, you can apologize for that little outburst that you had in front of Paul and me and the rest of the team. You're wrong about me, Iger. I intend to prove that to you. Nothing right now, Iger. And I intend to prove that to you. She stares at you for a moment, then looks away. Best of luck with that, Raquel. Now please, leave me alone. Not just yet. There's something else that I want to say. Step away, as you wish. Okay. Save na lang muna natin dito guys, saka. Libot lang sa tuloy. Palabas na pala eh. Teka, sige. Tingnan mo natin kung meron pa tayong intelaktan dito. Tapos save natin sa labas. Para wag na muna masyado mahaba. Sinusundan talaga tayo ni Dante. Ano ba yan? Okay, so yun lang. So labas na tayo, tapos save na natin sa labas. Okay, save na muna natin dito guys. Hanapin na lang natin next episode si ano, yung si Altrag ba yun? Save. Okay. Ito lang muna natin dito guys para hindi masyado mahaba. Actually mahaba na rin eh. Kaya Sean Veloso signing off guys. Next episode ulit.